mangiare di gioia in gioia, o che scorre il viver mio, bei sentieri e piaceri, la stagione e gioia, sempre indietro mi ritroverò.
A la rueda de prensa de la película MMXX, película que compite en la sección oficial de esta 71 edición del Festival de San Sebastián. Y para responder a vuestras preguntas y aclararnos algunas cosas sobre la película, tenemos aquí a buena parte de su equipo creativo. Voy a presentarlo, empezando desde mi derecha. Tenemos a los actores LAURENTIU BONDARENCO, OTILIA PANAINTE, ADELAIDA PERJOIU, FLORIN TIBRE. Tenemos también a CRISTI PUIU, director de la película, al productor y también actor DORIAN BOGUTA, a SERGIU CUMATRENCO, productor, y a BOGDAN ZÄRNOIANU, productor también. Bueno, sí, tenemos ya una pregunta aquí. Entonces, aquí delante, sí, allá.
Hola, buenas tardes. Yo quería preguntar por el carácter episódico de la película. No sé si siempre ha estado pensado así, si esto tenía intención quizá de ser una serie de televisión o qué. ¿Por qué contar estos episodios diferentes? Gracias.
I hope I got the question.
For you.
I don't think I got the question.
Just why the film is in different episodes? It was intended as a feature film, or you have another idea first and then?
No, it was the fact. This is the film was born inside a workshop that has been organized by DORIAN and Dorian Boguța and Dragoș Bucur. They have a school of acting for cinema, so they called me and they made this proposition to come. You know, it was in 2021 after 2020, and they asked me, they invited me, they asked me if I'm interested in doing a workshop on acting for the screen, acting for cinema. So I said yes, and we started the project. I already did this in 2008 in Grenoble in France, and then after in Toulouse in 2011. And every time I am making a film, I mean, during the workshop. The workshop is, I mean, the whole thing consists in making a film, inviting, pushing the actors to do whatever they can in order to get further, like, you know, students in school. But in the end, all their investment is having to do with cinema, working on a text, and we worked on texts and the stories, lots of stories they proposed and we proposed, and we were talking about the stories, and they participate in the writing of the script. So it was like something like coming from a need of you know, escaping, for me anyway, escaping this trauma of 2020. And the proposition was to put together stories coming out from our experience during this lockdown, during this strange year. No television, no intention of making money out of it. So, more or less, I believe this is the right answer. I don't know.
Okay, gracias. Tenemos aquí otra pregunta.
Hi there. Here. My question is for the main actress. Hi. I wanted to ask about how do you work on your role when half the time you are on the phone? How do you deliver conversations when there's nobody on the other side? How do you work on that?
Oh, sorry. I think you're referring to the other actress who's played in the first two. Bianca. So I'm not Bianca.
I am very sorry. I absolutely thought this was you. I am drawing faces clearly.
I take it as a compliment. No problem.
I am very sorry.
It's okay.
Thank you.
Sí, bueno, aprovechando un poco la pregunta, ya que tenemos aquí que creo que es un punto interesante, tenemos aquí a buena parte del reparto de la película. Me gustaría que nos contara un poco los actores cómo fue trabajar, ¿no? en esta película, en el sentido que es una película rodada con largos planos secuencia, imagino que no sé si hubo que repetir muchas tomas, es decir, cómo fue para ellos, ¿no? El reto de interpretar con esa naturalidad o esa aparente frescura, ¿no? Que no sé si hubo improvisación, si estaba todo escrito en el guión. No sé a quién le gustaría de los actores empezar, cualquiera.
I would like to have a word on this. First of all, the kind of interaction and the kind of profit, the kind of benefit or advantage you can take from working in this kind of setup with Mr. PUIU is the fact that you are invested with so much trust and with the trust of being a creator, because besides being an actor, we were there to deliver content that would be turned into a script for a movie. And that's completely different for us as an actor. It's a great challenge and a great gain, being able to write something that belongs to you, put it on paper, and have it delivered in front of the camera. So I think this is the biggest treat I got from working in this setup. And then we were also very lucky because we got the chance to tell our stories. And for me, it was also very like therapy. I don't know. It was a great thing to be able to tell your story and to be contained by a group of people who actually became your friends. And I don't know, things got better and better with all of us, I think, in this context. So thank you very much. Thank you.
Sí, tal vez también. Sí, si los demás actores también quieren contar un poco su experiencia, ¿no? En la película.
Sorry.
Can I say something? Florin? It's okay. I think for me, at some point, it was interesting because I couldn't make the difference between when we start filming and when we actually stop filming. So I couldn't say that it was like reality or, I don't know, I'm just playing and say the words and stuff like that. So sometimes I didn't know that we are filming actually, like for my part, because I didn't know. I don't know. I didn't know where the camera was or something like that. So I think it was a extremely interesting exercise to do this because for me, I could like just concentrate on what I'm doing with my partner Bianca. So that's for me. This was like the most important part. The long takes and everything. Was it difficult?
I don't know. I can say it was very difficult, but we were invested with so much trust that we just surrendered. We had no choice but surrender and do it.
I think, yeah, you just start doing it and then again, and you couldn't like I don't know.
Sí, quizá Adelaida también y Florin pueden aportar.
So for me, so we did the text. So writing text was one thing. I wrote the text with Igor. Igor is not here. And it was based on an experience actually Dorian had in his other life. So this was one thing. So yeah, so we learned, but before this, I mean, yes, we had some, I don't want to say therapy because it was group therapy. And a couple of our colleagues couldn't, did you say survive? Or
Surrender.
Surrender. So some of us didn't survive because, yeah, obviously because of their I mean, problems, right? So you cannot be honest if you have something to hide. So we had this workshop, was more or less watching movies and discussing about us and about our lives and what matters. So, and if you trust your fellow teammates, doesn't matter what you do. You make a text for a movie, or you play basketball, or I don't know what you do. I mean, I'm not an actor. I'm not a professional actor, so I guess it was no problem. So within these circumstances, it was no problem to have such long takes, because the hard part was to overcome yourself and be free within the workshop and within the relationships with the colleagues, with CRISTI, and with all the unknown people which you got to know. So, yeah, so I guess if you are an honest and free person, you can
Fly.
hide.
Maybe Adelaida, Dorian, also, they want to say.
Hello. First of all, I want to say I'm very happy for erection Sebastian's public. Believe me, because I remember very, very clear 2 years ago when we were shooting our movie, and it was so terrible, crazy, difficult. And I tell this like an actor and like a producer. And now I understand that 2 years ago, it was so crazy difficult, because today it was so crazy nice for us, and I'm happy. Sorry for my English, but I think you understand what I want to say.
Perfectly. Adelaida, maybe you want to add something?
Sí. I did not participate in the workshop. I came along later in the group. It was such an experience because I received a text. I had received a text from Dorian on a Wednesday at midnight, asking me if he could call me. I just had a baby back then. She was like 7 months old. And I said, yeah, sure. And he said, would you like to shoot for CRISTI in his movie this Saturday? And I was like, first of all, I said, if you're looking for me to be eye candy, I can't anymore because I just had a baby, so I'm not an eye candy anymore. And he said, no, it's perfect. And I said, so when's it? Saturday. And I said, yeah, sure. Yeah, sure. I mean, I thought it was something like super, super small. And then CRISTI called me up. Well, we had a chat. We then met the next day, and he gave me the text, and I was shocked because it wasn't something small, as I thought. And I panicked, though I was trying to hide it, but CRISTI kept asking me, are you sure? And I said, yeah. Are you sure? Yeah. Are you sure? And after a while, I said, well, now that you keep asking, I'm going to do my best. That's when he really, really, really did work on me, because that's the great thing it is the first time I worked with CRISTI, and he was absolutely amazing because he made me act that part in such a way that I never actually thought I could. All I did was learn the lines, and then he really, just over the phone. By the time I got on the set on Saturday, all I did was say the lines, and it was all there. So, yeah. So that's pretty much, it was a very short experience, very, very intense, and, you know.
Not too much sleep.
Yeah, I don't know, intense.
Sí, tenemos ya
Thank you.
preguntas. Thank you very much. Tenemos aquí una primera y luego pasamos a la primera fila.
Sí, hola otra vez. Yo quería saber sobre la puesta en escena, los planos largos que se ven en la película, pero luego hay planos que no lo son, que no son tal. Entonces, yo quería saber si esa puesta en escena, en qué momento decide el director que una de las historias va a ser con plano casi fijo, con ligeros movimientos, con pequeños movimientos, y otras historias no. ¿Cuándo decide eso? ¿Escribiendo el guión o ya cuando tiene todo el guión y ya empieza a ir sobre la marcha ya con toda la producción, la preproducción de la película? Gracias.
There is no precise moment of decision. It's just you let yourself be. And then, you know, what was this? Was Funkadelic. Free your mind and your ass will follow. It's more or less like this. It's just starting the workshop and having long discussions about lots of things, and it's like at that moment that the decision is being taken, but unconsciously. It's not like I have this like a revelation, or just letting yourself be, and the decisions are coming to you. It is not like putting all this information on paper and then taking the decisions after precise measurements, and no, it's like. And anyway, you know, the best thing you can do as a director is to approach the filmmaking as an exercise. It's like you are in school, there's no consequences. So, you know, making for the screen, thinking of the audience and all the implications of the filmmaking, money, and so on. We didn't. I told them from the beginning, I'm not going to take any money. I want to be free to abuse them, in the sense of asking from them to give all they have, all they can. I mean, acting and filmmaking, it is about generosity, it's about giving yourself. You know, someone said that being generous is not to give something that you have, but to give, not to give what you have, but what you are. So giving what you are this was the ideal situation. So then after, you know, I am attached to long takes, but this is just because what I do appreciate and what is dear to me is what you can find in the real life, not just in films, in somebody else's eyes. Something that you cannot distort, you cannot fake. It is inside your gaze. So you can move your muscles, you can choose to distort your face, but you cannot fake your gaze. So this is the main reason. Even if the long takes are not, you know, I don't put the camera on his face, or.
But we didn't even know. So while me and Igor were writing the text, and then I had, I think, 2 or 3 days to learn the text, I didn't even know how many takes or how long or from how many angles. And I guess we didn't even have the location when I started to learn the text. So
it was like, it worked like a whole, like we were like somehow inside the belly of a huge animal, inside the machine that was, you know, a different dimension from the beginning till the end. And because everything, according to them, I mean the producers, Dorian and Dragos, according to them, everything appeared to work pretty well. One day they came to me and they asked me to write a script for them because they want to be in this movie. So I wrote the last story. That's where Adelaida came, and at the beginning of the workshop, we're not supposed to work with our producer bosses. But because they wanted to do it, so I start thinking of a story. So I wrote down the last story, and then after we put all these things together. It was really like a huge animal. And it was hot. It was really hot, especially inside. And lots of flies.
I remember one moment, then 1 week or some days before to start the shooting, CRISTI come to me and say, "Look in my eyes, producer." I look in his eyes, and he tell me, "If all the things will be good, will be very hard. If the things will be hard, will be inferno." It was inferno, believe me.
Tenemos primero aquí en la tercera fila y luego pasamos atrás.
Hola, sí, quería preguntarle al director qué recuerdos guarda él de cómo vivió el confinamiento, cómo lo vivió personalmente. No sé en Rumanía, pero aquí se decía mucho eso de que íbamos a salir mejores de la pandemia. No sé si en su opinión ha sido así, cree que hemos aprendido algo, si hemos salido mejores. Y por otro lado quería preguntarle sobre la importancia de la palabra en su cine, si puede compartir una reflexión sobre por qué es tan importante.
Why words are important in my cinema? Words are important, period, full stop. So I'm like a wise pupil. I'm following this evidence. So it's not important for me, but are important, and that's all. It is not like making choices. You enter a store, and then you think of buying that pair of shoes or that pair of shoes, or not buying anything. It's not like using words or not using words. It is just like, for example, in this case right now, we are here in a press conference. We are using words in order to communicate and understand each other. So the pandemic, if we learn something, I don't know, the plural, I will never use the plural. It's a question that I will ask myself if I learned something. So I don't know. So, but if we learn something, this is not for me to evaluate, even if I have the tendency to evaluate, like, every one of us. But I don't know, for me it was very difficult. And it wasn't difficult because we were supposed to stay inside. It was difficult because there were lots of questions with no answer. And it was difficult because of the fear that the authorities installed in the individual. And this was the very difficult thing to understand, not to live through, to understand. And I even now I don't have an answer. So I have a lot of questions, no answers. So maybe this is the state of things, and we stay like this. Otherwise, I came from cinema. Getting back to the words, maybe this would sound like a better answer. I came to cinema from literature, from books, and I started by preparing myself to become a painter. So it's painting and cinema, painting and literature, and further on I decided, and it was really further on, when I was like 25 or 26, I decided to start learning filmmaking. So maybe this is one of the reasons I'm very much attached to literature.
Tenemos, sí, primero aquí él y luego allá detrás.
Bueno, quería celebrar la película y en general toda la trayectoria de CRISTI PUIU, que he podido seguir atentamente y de la que me siento como muy impactado siempre. Quería preguntar, en el caso de 2020, sobre la idea de utilizar un registro que tenga, que estaría un poco en una forma híbrida entre el drama, el humor negro, y esto me lleva a pensar en películas como Aurora y Sierra Nevada, donde se tratan cuestiones espinosas, se tratan cuestiones de problemas. En el caso de Aurora es más que problemas, es la historia de este homicida, y la película pues va del drama a esos tintes de humor negro. En el caso de Sierra Nevada pues hay una parte dramática, pero también hay esa parte de esa ironía, ¿no? Se juega mucho la ironía. Entonces, en el caso de 2020 quería preguntar ¿por qué ese registro irónico y a veces que también busca como ese humor negro un poco en un tema pues tan trágico y tan delicado de tratar como pueda ser la pandemia?
Well, it's my perspective on things, and your short analysis is your perspective on my film, and I do believe that we are both right. So I believe the film is very serious. I believe it's more than serious. And I believe that the film speaks for itself. It's not for me to decode the film. Everything is inside the film. And if you pay attention, just to give you a hint, it is having to do with the killing of babies. And I believe this is from far much more tragic than what we can experience inside our apartment during a lockdown. And I believe we are all responsible, and not just for this. And this is very serious. We are all responsible. You see, I didn't want to come to San Sebastian for one very serious reason. My mother died on the 16th of August. Today is the 40th day. We were supposed to do the commemoration of the death of my mother. but I couldn't read the signs. Is it good to go to San Sebastian? Is it good to stay home? So I came to San Sebastian with my brother. And we'll go back home. This Saturday, we are going to do this commemoration. So it's quite relative, you know. And the exterior signs, what you can see, what you believe you saw, and what you believe you understood, we have to pay attention to all these things. Anyway, I think it's I think it's very, extremely dangerous not to talk about what happened during that year, 2020, 2021, 2022, 2023, 2024, 2025, because it didn't end. And if we don't talk about it, if we don't assume our condition of humans, we will not survive. We will not survive. I'm not making predictions, but I believe it's, like you said, very serious. But the fact that the thing is serious does not block me in observing how the things are going, how people are interact, and it is not like searching for black humor. It doesn't work like this, and nobody works like this. Not even Monty Pythons, you see. They are very, very serious. But this is something that you already knew. Or we already knew. So I didn't really answer a question. I just repeat what we all knew and what we all know. I hope.
Okay. Sí, tenemos otra pregunta ahí.
Hi, for the director. Just back a bit to the question of cinematic style and words. It seems to me you are incorporating words, dialogue as a cinematic tool, like lighting, the acting, the camera movement, the sound, more than as a literary exploration now. And this is a movement also a little bit maybe in Nuri Bilge Ceylan, where the dialogue was escaping from cinema, especially art house cinema, and you brought it back in really strong, beautiful way that is not so literary and dominating in that way, but integrated into cinema. Do you agree?
When I said literature, when I make this reference, it was just to say that this can be an explanation. There is a huge, very important root that attached me to literature and to poetry, as funny as this might seem to you, but not to you, but like watching my films doesn't seem to be so poetic, but I'm very attached to words because it's a part of it's a part of this illusion that we are living in. We tend to think that the words are covering reality and objects, and so we are exchanging words. I'm not too much into philosophy. I don't want to get philosophical about it. But people are not communicating. They are exchanging words like, exchanging products at the market. And they don't pay attention to what they are saying. We are not in control of what we are saying. So this is the context. There is the film, and then there is the press conference, and then there are questions, and try to answer these questions. It is not my language, it's English. My English is not so good. I'm trying to find the words, the proper, right words in order to answer questions. And then I'm going to use words that are not mine, that belong to English language, and I believe that I can get to the level of understanding, superposing on the Romanian words, then it is more or less the same thing, and then I'm answering the question. But this is happening every day between people that are speaking the same language, and they are coming from different corners of the world, of the everyday life. And they tend to think that they believe, that they understand each other, and then they exchange beliefs and thoughts and that are having more to do with their expectations and ta-ta-ta-ta-ta-ta-ta. It's a long story, but to make this long story short, in French, I would say attendrissant. It's very touching for me to see how we are unable to find our way in expressing the love that we feel for the other, the love that we feel for the other. And it's touching, but we cannot, we are not, it's unbelievable. Very easy to spit poison towards the others, but very hard to express your love. How comes? And then, but this is a long story, and we had long talks during the workshop on this topic, precisely on this topic, and everyone tried to talk about what happened not during the pandemic, their whole life. And I did the same, and it's very, there are limits, and you feel this, the fact that you cannot put in words, your words cannot cover the reality and your feelings, your when you after you delivered your speech, you talk and people are listening to you, you are telling your story, and then after you feel like empty and with no goal and pointless, senseless, how do you say, no, pointless, without, like losing your stability, equilibrium. So, but it's having a lot to do with literature, and it's having a lot to do with cinema, and with the directors that I consider to be my masters, like John Cassavetes and then Eric Romer and lots of others, because there are so many. So I will consider, I live in a world where people are using words, and deciding not to use words, it would be for me, I would consider this artificial if it's not justified by the story and by the situation. But putting those words on paper is something, and expressing them verbally, I mean, it's a completely different world, different dimension. And this is something that is just happening. You cannot do this. Nobody can do this. Nor the actors, nor the director. You are just struggling, take after take, and suddenly it happens. And then you tend to think that now you get it, and they get it, and then we are going to do another take, and it will not happen. You can stay there like for days, it will not happen anymore. You have to be aware of this. It's just a miracle. It's ineffable. You cannot build up the ineffable, and art, according to me, art is having to do with this, with what you get, something that is coming from I don't know where. Somebody will say it's the Big Bang, somebody will say it's God. I don't know, but it is not you. This is something I know. It's not you, the director. It's not you, the actor. It's not because of the script. It's not because of the DOP or so. It is something that is happening. Suddenly, it is happening. For those who had this experience on the set, what I am saying is banal. But it's like just like this. I don't know if I answered the question.
Muy bien. No sé si hay alguna pregunta más. Tendríamos tiempo para última, si alguien quiere, porque tendríamos ya que ir acabando. No, bueno. No sé si tenemos también aquí a los productores SERGIU y BOGDAN. No sé si ellos quieren añadir algo sobre la película, sobre su implicación en el proyecto.
Hello, and thank you very much that you are here. For us, it's very important. And very shortly, like CRISTI said, this project is a miracle. I think one night, DORIAN called me and asked me if we can find a director of photography in Moldova. And the questions was, listen to me, boy, I need a very talented director of photography, and the most important, a very resilient. Why? Because the director is CRISTI PUIU. Do you know who is CRISTI PUIU? Of course, we know who is CRISTI PUIU. And that we joined on the board, and the project was very, very hard. But for us, it's not a project. It's for me personally, it's a very complex. It's a statement. It's a statement. We did this project during pandemic, and we used to drive from Chisinau, the capital city of Republic of Moldova, to Bucharest to film 2 days, then to go back to make different stuff with the certificate of vaccination. So it was terrible. But what actors experienced, because they lived together. You can say that they lived together from the morning to the evening, and they discussed, and they were together, and they fought together. So it was for us, from the producer's perspective, we jumped into the project without knowing anything. So no expectation, not format, any deliverables, so no ideas. We just want that know that there is CRISTI PUIU and there is a will to do something, and we are very happy for this, and grateful to all the crew and the cast. So as I know, the project, the film are going to enter into the distribution in France and in Romania, and hopefully in Moldova too. So we're happy that you are here to spread words about our project. This is. I'm lowering the level of these discussions.
No. I mean, it's important to touch these concrete matters.
Yes.
They helped us a lot, and there was a huge dedication from them, from Moldova. And I'm not doing an advertisement here.
No.
It's not.
No, but for us it was.
And from France and from Dragos and Anka, they try to do their best. This film is not made with money coming from CNC or any other institution. They try to do their best in order to find the money and to put very, very, very small amount of money into this. And the actors were paying for the workshop, and then the money from the workshop, we use them for making the film in order to see, to try and do a film without any support from the state institutions. Not to make a point, not to prove something, but just to be independent. It's true, it is about being independent. And it was tough.
And that's why for us...
it was filmed in 12 days. And 12 days.
So it's a performance. 12 days.
And work 3 months, every day and every hour. And I want to mention another things. I born in the Republic of Moldova, and I live in Bucharest 30 years. And when I call SERGIU, and I tell him I need somebody to work in this project because I want to link Republic of Moldova and Romania. I never forget that I born in Republic of Moldova, and for me it was very important, these things, and I'm repeat third time in this evening, I'm happy that I could link these things.
So now this is advertising for the film industry. But yes, it's because of the bridge made by DORIAN. We did another project, Romania-Moldova, so it works. So we are very grateful to you, and thank you very much.
And I don't know if Bogdan, do you want to add something?
Yeah. So, I'm not the producer, Anka is the producer, but I've worked with CRISTI in Mandragora for almost 10 years now.
Well, here you are the producer. You are her voice.
I am the speaker, the public speaker for Mandragora now. So I've worked on Sierra Nevada and Malmkrog as well, and now what I do basically is handling the post-production. So I wasn't in the workshop part. I was once the film was filmed in 12 days, and to put that into perspective, a regular film has like 30 at least, if not 40. So yeah, everything starting from editing all the way to the premiere, to the screening.
Muy bien, pues vamos a dar por terminada la rueda de prensa. Solo nos queda agradecer al equipo de la película que haya estado hoy aquí con nosotros. Muchísimas gracias, mucho más. Y esperemos que tengan mucha suerte con el recorrido de la película. Muchísimas gracias.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.